Dubai is a great city, and we are, in this crazy time of, stock market. So I thought, like, why not Wolf of Dubai, after Wolf of Wall Street, obviously.
Yeah.
So that was obviously a little bit, let's say, uh, themed to this crazy movie. But yeah, so I started one morning, and since then, pretty much since inception, which is like now 2 years ago, I posted, I think, beside one or two or couple of days, really everyday content, So that was basically the idea behind the channel, to say, okay, I want to post daily, because I just think there's so many things that are running around on the stock market that you can talk about every single day. So I did daily vlogs, and then I added daily live streams as well. There were times where I posted 5 times per day even, right? So really, really heavy. And yeah, it's just that huge fun, and then you meet interesting people like yourself and so on. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting community that brings together it brings together a very interesting group of people. And um, seeing, like, one of the things that I liked watching on your Instagram stories was how you put together The Big Short and The Wolf of Wall Street, with some of your like stock, like the profit sharing and everything. I thought it was really cool. I got a big kick out of that.
Yeah, that's sometimes this as well, sometimes just you get this creative idea, and I think to mix your passion for investing and companies and businesses, and then you mix creativity to that as well, and then create something nice that people like to watch, apparently. That's one of the greatest feelings in the world currently
Yeah.
for me, and so it's been just 2 years joyride so far, so it's very, very, very nice.
Yeah, and I feel like consistency really helps bring that out over time. I mean, we started this about like what 3, 4 months ago, and it's very, very slow at first, and then you start reaching little, peaks, and you start seeing like a return on your investment of sorts, and that's really, really fun.
Yeah, I remember when I started YouTube, and I sent the first videos to all my friends and family. I was really spamming everyone, and then I saw like first 10 views, 20 views, 75 views was the world for me. I was like, how the hell, 75 people in the whole world are watching this, and then 75 views per video became 100 and 500. And I remember going out with friends and asking people to subscribe me, so I went to 500 subscribers and so on. And just this last weekend for the Virgin Galactic test flight, we cracked, I think, 150,000 views on one video, which was on the live stream, which was really, really nice. It's nice to see this development and this interest also in our content as well. So yeah, it's a nice journey.
Oh, for sure. And I found out about you because of Virgin Galactic, and I first saw your videos. Someone shared your video on StockTwits.
Okay.
Because I bought some shares, and I was kind of like, figuring out like, okay, what do I do next? What do I do next? And they were like, oh, well, Wolf of Dubai said it, and it's good to go. So I'm like, wait, who's this gentleman? And then I saw your video, and I was like, this guy is super cool, man. Like, I went back to like your first video, like about Tesla, and
Nice.
started watching all that, and I just,
Oh, nice. So you checked actually the track record first, and
yeah.
oh, nice,
So that was
nice, nice.
really interesting. Because I mean, I'm kind of, doing the same thing in a way. And same thing with you, man. Like when I first started seeing it, like 100, 200, 300, it's mind blowing, and you're reaching out to the world. And yeah, I'm all the way here in South Texas by Mexico, and you're in Dubai, and we're having this conversation. I think that's really beautiful.
Yes, absolutely.
So with SPC, I feel like that's like the number one popular thing right now with, the interest in it, and though it was shorted all the way down to like $15, $16 as of recently, right? From going from 60. And one of the reasons what scared a lot of people before this last test flight was something to do with the mothership, right? There was some type of, I don't remember exactly what it was, and a lot of people were freaking out about that. I saw that sentiment. What
I
exactly was
mean,
that?
so starting at the last test flight, which actually started in December, we had like a huge negative wave for space, right? So it was like first we had the space flight that was not happening in December because there were this electromagnetic interference, EMI problems. And then they said, okay, we are looking into that and let's retry it on February. So they tried to do it and then shortly decided, okay, we need more time, and decided to make the test flight then in May. Then, Richard Branson sold some shares. We had Shamas selling some shares. We had ARK Invest selling some. So you had this like snowball of negative news, which, and then obviously the overall market, the momentum stocks, the growth stocks, they all got a hit from the all-time highs in January and February. So you had this perfect storm to buy a great company that needed a little bit time and maybe one of the most challenging industries in the world. So I thought like, nothing changed fundamentally for the stock, or for the company, actually. They said they will fly in May, and now there's no news that they will do otherwise, So, and then they came obviously with the joy message that they will fly, I think they came out on the 20th and that they will fly on the 22nd. And the issue that the final hit on the stock to go to up to 14 or 15 was when the earnings came out. I think it was back in May, 10th of May, and everyone expected a date for the test flight, and they actually said, hey, they might found something on the mothership, a maintenance challenge that they might fix before they go back to the air. And and then because of that and the whole snowball of negative news, that was like a very, very strong win. But then I was thinking like, well, this is like a unbelievable deja vu what I went through when I invested heavily in Tesla, because you had like this Tesla lavine of bad news where they're building up China factory, and they ramping up Model 3, and there was so much negative news that they will not make it, right? Like they will bankrupt on the way. Then they, there were several times they cut the stuff like 10%, 7%, heavy negative news. And the best thing that you could do was just buying more Tesla shares, right? So, I stayed the course, and I feel like staying the course is the best when you really, really do the work and do the research about the company, and you just go really, really straightforward, and say, okay, fundamentally, what have changed? The company came out with this statement. This anything changed? No, so people are selling stocks for 1,000 different reasons. So, but, people or investors or retail investors specifically, like to jump into conclusions very quickly. And then once the stock then goes more down, then they feel like short term confirmed on their thesis, right? They say, oh, because they know something inside the company, that's why they're selling. And then they see the stock going down 10% or 20%. And they say, oh yeah, I told you so, But that's a very, very short-term view on investing, and that's why I always say, if you are investing into a stock 1 year so far, that's like 2 seconds, Get out of here and don't talk to me before we are in this company for at least like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, So I think that's one of the best tips I can give, like, to investors out there. Like, just think about how the company could develop for the next 5 years, and just observe if the company doing, milestones and achievements over the next couple of months,
No, absolutely. Yeah, I remember like Tesla went from like 180 to 90, and then after a year went to like 800. So you have to. I think it's really really important to weather the storms. And one thing I find really interesting and what makes me really bullish on SPC is the CEO, man. For he's from Disney, and I feel like the gentleman, he is going to bring the Disney type of feel to space travel and exploration and make it more of like like some like a true experience,
Yeah.
and bringing the same kind of sentiment that Disney has to
Mm.
space travel is going to be that's going to be amazing. I'm looking really, really forward to that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think Michael Koglaser, and when for example, um, when he was introduced as CEO, they had a very short press conference online. Okay, I think that it's somewhere available in the internet. And on this conference was, I think, Richard Branson. I think there was George Whiteside, the ex-CEO, and there was also Shamas Palihapitiya. And what Shamas Palihapitiya said really made me really believe in this person, because if you're looking into videos of Shamas, he's not usually, very straightforward. Okay. So if he don't like something, or he don't over hype things as well, right? He will never hear him like, accept those really great things, to talk about very, very high about something. And then he said in this interview, or in this press release, he said, or press conference, he said, when Michael Koglaser gave us a picture and imagination and vision, when he gets a CEO, what will happen to Virgin Galactic, it blow them out of the socks. And when Shamas is saying something, as a person that usually don't say this kind of things, or price that high people or companies, I feel that meant a lot. And that's why I said, like, wow, this is a really great move, beside what you just said, Disney experience, right? I remember my first trip to Disneyland Paris. It was everything.
yeah,
So if people will feel the same way, in the spaceship too, that would be absolutely great, crazy.
definitely. How do you feel about? There's been a huge rumblings about SPCE being traded on the Russian stock market. How much of a big deal do you really think that is? Do you think that's more hype?
Well, I just saw the news, I think, 2 days ago or something, or one day ago. Um, that's a nice thing for sure. More people will be able to invest. We will be maybe a little bit, able to see a little bit earlier, a couple of hours, how the stock of space could be. But that's just like a gimmick for me. It's like not a huge deal in my personal opinion. It's a nice to have. I also was very surprised when I did my huge live stream that there were lots and lots of people from Russia actually there. So if this will help the stock to go higher, then that's great. But not like a breaking news, because in the end of the day, I think also in Russia they have proper brokers that you can invest into space at the New York Stock Exchange. They are not living in a forest there. So I think it's nice to have, but not a big deal.
Yeah, I know. I totally get that, and it's usually these kinds of things that like initially you'll get that nice pump, and then when it actually does happen, it brings it down a little bit. So it's not any like real type of catalyst. It's a little bit, in a way, kind of a distraction too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, hey, it's nice information, but now let's put the eyes back on the freaking price.
Do you follow stock twits? at all?
Not really, no.
Okay. 'Cause
No.
you
You
come
know,
up a lot on SPC's ticker.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's
I
great.
see you as like the leader of SPCE.
Yeah, and I see that people are following me. As always, as you know by yourself, it's never financial advice. That just, I see, all my videos on space, not that I want to convince people. I want to just document that I can look back, 20 years from now and say, hey, you know what? On these things, I was quite right, on Tesla, on space, and whatever the next big stock will be. um, and building a community around, and if it then works out, then it's great, right? And it's great, if it, on top, like the cherry on the cake, makes people, financially, better in life. That's, the absolute craziest thing. I got messages from people that were already in the first wave of my content with Tesla, and I got, messages from all around the world, from, hey, I became a millionaire, hey, I bought the dream house, hey, I settled on my debt, hey, I bought a flat in Sweden. Everything from I think even people could pay for their medical bills. Though I really find it really risky to put money into something to pay for medical bills or anything like
Absolutely.
that. So but it's nice when it works out. So I always say, I would never put out something that I would not be self convinced about, had a high conviction, and would not put a lot of money behind it. So you can imagine, like, for example, and it's the content basically reflect how much percentage of my portfolio is actually in a stock. So currently I'm sitting somewhere around 70% in space. So you can see that, most of my content is into space stock, because I also see the most potential into, space. And that's why, that will be always the driver. Whatever I see as most potential, I will definitely use the most as content, the topic for my channel.
Yeah. It was really, really stressful waiting for the test flight results on Saturday.
Oh
Because
yes.
that's what when it was going through, I was like, this. I felt good about it because the last test flight had failed, and that delay meant to me that they're gonna make sure everything is right, and that's what gave me the confidence to do that. But I did not sleep that night, and I was
Yeah,
very late.
it's stressful, but if you're early on those kind of companies, then also Tesla, even though totally different business, if they would not figure out the mass production of the Model 3, and Elon Musk said this very, very publicly, then Tesla would go out of business, because they have to build that, because they need the revenue, because they have already the team and machinery and factories, infrastructure that costs money. And so with every business out there, if it's space travel, or mass manufacturing of toilet paper, it's basically the same thing. It's really like the day-to-day business. And space is definitely in the business of very high capital intense, and non-obvious, right? So it's a quite nice ride, because also space, I don't know if you talk about space with your friends or family. They say, like, what, like space travel, that there's people that want to do that, and then you say, like, yeah, there's a real thing. There's like the best, or the most successful entrepreneurs in the world are building businesses around that. So it's really great to see when then finally it works out, and then you can say them, I told you so, right? Which I hate I hate to say I told you so. I try to never say that because, there's always the next opportunity as well. That's the beautiful thing about the stock market as well.
Yep. And, and crypto is fun too.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of
That's
course.
a whole nother beast, and we can definitely talk about that another day. I think we're gonna have to get the space stations out for that one.
Exactly. Yes.
That'd be fun. One last thing I wanted to hit on, and I was a little curious about it too, but I feel like Virgin Galactic is also involved in future hypersonic speed travel, and I think that's going to be play a really really big part in the growth of the company as well. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, when you invest into companies, I feel that you always have to, look through the noise of the main product, right? And see, okay, guys, I understand that you have like a product and maybe you are, a hot shot, but what's after that, right? At Apple, for example, to bring up this example, it's like first it was a computer company, right? Then it became, and you saw like, the team behind Apple were already seeing that there could be a huge change into the software and hardware of music, right? So they developed over the years to from a computer company to a music company, right? With the iPod selling like crazy and being the most revenue driver. And then, from a music company to basically a mobile phone company, right? And building this huge monster with the iPhones. And, so you had like two huge pivots from industries. And this is very important to keep companies alive and growing as well. So you can see that a little bit now. Amazon doing a fantastic job as well, built first the huge e-commerce and then saw that, for future, the internet is growing. We need to be, the infrastructure for internet, and then having Amazon Web Services and always, innovating the space. And that's why I thought, okay, space tourism is a nice thing. It seems like they really figured out how to do that. And now what's the next product? And when they came out or directly at the IPO, they talked about it as well. And then I think at the second earnings call, just before one day or a couple of hours even, they showed this picture of the Concorde-like ship, right? And this will be the Amazon Web Services of space. Okay, this will be the next product. And it's so important because space tourism will, like every other business in the future, saturate, right? And margins are first, you have high demand, high margin, very less competition, and then it's slowly fading, out. So you need something that comes after that, right? It can be a variation of the product. It can be, which is, the obvious one, right? So basically we can see that they're having already plans on the website to bring people to the International Space Station. So I think this will be like a product variation. And then you will have like the big pivot from space tourism to point-to-point travel, which will be great, So, and then it's not, to really go against the airlines. It's more about the private jet business, I think the aircraft can take 19 people only, all right, but it's really giving the, let's say, people who are flying private anyway because of time saving, most, like, this is the number one reason. Actually, people want to save time when they fly private, and obviously there's the private aspect, but the number one pain point for those clients are, flying faster, right? Like no check-in, no security, and so on. Very flexible. So if you can offer a service that is from the hospitality, maybe even better than a own private jet, but makes the same route in like 20% of the time, then you can really ask for really a lot of money, you know, per seat. And I think that's the right step for this company, you know. And we have a lot of experience into this company, you know, with Richard Branson from the airline business. And I think that this will be the Amazon Web Services of space, you know, and very, very important for this company. So I think, you know, if you're looking into the future, you will see first, you know, the space tourism business. Then you will see variations of it, you know, going to space station, go into maybe higher or even different kind of experiences, maybe, you know, getting more broader, you know, from all around the world and so on. And then you will see the point-to-point travel anywhere in the world within 90 minutes, you know, which will be the selling headline.
Awesome. You know, I'm really excited about that. I finally, with the recent shorting of the company and it getting down really bad and the fear, I finally increased my position, and I'm going long on it myself. A lot of the information that you've provided on your channel allowed me to get that education and to have my own faith in the company. So I would just really, really like to thank you for that. And the content is super fun, informative, and you're killing it, man. And it's
Thank you very
inspiring.
much.
It's inspiring for us too, as creators as well, to see you know you doing that. And I'm excited for the every Friday that or the new
Virgin Galactic Fridays, yes, yeah.
So I'm gonna be looking forward to that.
Fantastic.
And,
Did you saw we just launched weekly vlogs? Did you saw that already as well? Yeah. So you know, I just thought like for me, I'm a person, I can get easily bored and I need something new and something challenging and so on. So I thought like, okay, what's the next step for creativity in my channel? And then I developed this idea, okay, you know, people, obviously, if you see the finance world, you see on YouTube that people, you know, standing in front of the camera and, you know, giving informational content. But what does it mean, for example, for my audience? They would maybe, you know, we will find out, but maybe be interested in what I'm doing the whole day, right? I mean, they see me for 10, 20, 30 minutes per day, but what it takes to make this live streams, right? What it takes to, you know, be a professional investor. How does Dubai lie? With whom I hang out, with whom I sit together to get investment, you know, ideas and information. So we just launched it, and every single Monday now will come a new episode. We just launched the first one, and we got great feedback on that. It's a little bit longer format. So the first episode was like 2 hours. The next episodes will be, depending on the content and what's happening in the week, a little bit, you know, shorter maybe. But I think this is like the nice thing that people should also check out if they want. So it's not only informative content, but also, you know, the behind the scenes now.
yeah, I'm gonna have to get my watch game up too.
Yeah, that's fun. You know, Dubai is also a little bit around you know, the extraordinary, right?
No,
So it's about you know, cars, watches, you know, buildings, parties, and so on. Though, you know, because of the health crisis, we don't have the you know, that much of the latter. But otherwise, you know, it's a nice, fun city to live in, and great people that live in that you get to know. And yeah, and I would love to share it with my audience, you know. So
sure. I definitely want to visit Dubai. So I went when I was really young, when I was living in the Middle East, and younger, but I wasn't able to experience it properly as an adult. So I'm looking forward to that one day.
nice, fantastic.
But yeah, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to interview and talk about.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, the people who are watching that obviously know where to find me, hopefully. And yeah, anytime, if you guys have time and I'm available, then let's catch up. Would love to do this more regularly, guys. And good luck with all your content and channel.